Welcome to Stories from the Center of the Universe, the podcast about the human experience.
All right, welcome to the Center of the Universe. Tom Greco and Zach Gilman. Tom has been on a few times. Zach's been on twice. Once when he was the focus, and then once when his sister was the focus for their 21st birthdays. I have to say that I had this idea around the same time that Tom did that we should talk about NFL football, or maybe football generally, but I think with a focus on the NFL, literally within half an hour of each other, we had that thought. And I said, well, this podcast is guest-oriented. It's about really exploring the guest's life and what they're working on these days or what they're doing these days. I don't know that I want to turn this into another sports podcast because I'm guessing there are at least 10 million of these things out there. But at the end of the day, I realized, and I don't think I'm being overly selfish, I enjoy talking about them. And so if people listen to this, great. If they don't, that's fine too. And my son is at a place in his life where he's moving away because he has a manly job coming up. I'm not going to go into the details of that, but this is also an excuse where I get my son on a podcast at least once a week to talk about football. And oh, by the way, basketball season right behind that, Zach, so we'll keep this thing going. Tom is our week one guest. He's a Jets fan. Let's just get that out of the way. If that induces laughter for many of you, I understand.
It's pain for most. Pain.
Yeah. So, Tom, how does every Jets fan enter the season? Before week one, how do you guys come into the season?
If we're being honest with ourselves, how are we going to screw it up this year? Like, that is the 100% just jaded, like, because it's not the same as a Cleveland fan, because there's hope. There's nobody in the same city that is sticking success in your face. 1986, 1990, 2007, whatever the next one was, 2014, both of Eli's, New York Giant victories and both of the Coach Parcells, Phil Simms, Jeff Hostetler victories right there in our face, right? And on top of that, to make it worse, Jet fans have this. We have like the right hand in the air, approximately 2 inches above the right rear lobe of Joe Namath's head as he shook his hand with the index finger extended, and in 1969 after the Super Bowl III victory. That's all we got.
Tom, I'm 56. I was born a month and a half before that Super Bowl victory for the Jets.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. So I hear what you're saying. So the solace that we have is that I think it's Detroit and Arizona do not have one.
Oh,
so
there are a bunch of teams that don't have one.
Those are the two I can think of off the top of my head. But there's some solace in that. So that's how Jet fans, are, going into a season, if they're being honest with themselves and if they've been following the team for a long time.
Yeah, fair enough. Are there? I guess they're kids that dad's a Jets fan, so I'm going to be a Jets fan too, and they're just new to this life. They don't understand the decades of toil.
That's exactly how it happened. Some of it's a little bit of geographical and socio-geographical. That if you grew up near Queens, the Jets generally are your team because the Jets played at Shea Stadium, the Giants played at Yankee Stadium before there was a Meadowlands, and so but you have to really embrace the pain of, Vinny Testaverde, having to go up against Elway, then blowing up his knee the next year. Then literally 2 years later, I think it's Mo Lewis or one of the other Jets linebacking core pops Drew Bledsoe incredibly hard, gives him a really serious injury with internal bleeding. And who comes marching onto the field but the 6th-round draft pick from Michigan? And, the rest is history.
I forgot the Jets led us to the era of Tom Brady and 7 Super Bowl victories. All right, let's get to the games. Jets, Steelers. Justin Fields was a Steeler last year. Aaron Rodgers was a Jet.
Yep.
I've never rooted so hard for Justin Fields in my life because I cannot stand Aaron Rodgers.
Likewise.
I will just – the setup for me was Pittsburgh was supposed to have an amazing defense, lots of big names. Justin Fields is not as good as Aaron Rodgers, even at his advanced age. So, of course, the Steelers were supposed to kill the Jets.
That's right.
Tom, what were your impressions of the game?
Yeah. So impressions of the game are, number one, the Jets right now they're an incredibly motivated football team. Number two, had an incredibly improved offense. I'll just be upfront. Like the fact that we scored 32 points, if you go back to last season, not the averages that you were used to seeing. I think it was maybe, two times in 2024, but please don't quote me on that, where the Jets were like over 30 points, but not a big high scoring team. Justin Fields has solved that. The final positive was Breece Hall, 107 yards against the Steeler defense. I thought that was fantastic. And Justin Fields adding another 2 rushing touchdowns and another 48 yards was great. On the sad side, though, you can't turn the ball over to Aaron Rodgers sub 40 your own 40-yard line and then give him time in the pocket. That last touchdown was just really painful. And so on top of that, of course, to get back at us, he completed over 73% of his passes. And on top of that, just being honest, like you can't give up the amount of penalties. I think at one point in the second half, the Jets did not have a series in any phase of the football where an entire series of the ball changed hands without the Jets getting some kind of penalty. And so, they were one of the most penalized teams last year. Aaron Glenn has not done a good job of instilling discipline into his team. There was a ton of personal fouls. I think there was 2 or 3. The Jets have got to get better at that. Otherwise, they're going to beat themselves. They're not good enough to sustain that kind of attack. On the Steelers side, Aaron Rodgers played great. As much as it makes bile rise in my throat to say it, he played fantastic. He didn't throw a pick. If I'm being honest, the rushing attack for the Steelers wasn't phenomenal. Like it wasn't terrible, but it was pedestrian. But he had 136.7 QB rating, which is he never had a game like that for the Jets, not one time. So a little frustrating.
No, I get it. Zach, what are your thoughts?
Do you think that that's Aaron Rodgers returning to form, or do you think the Jets have some holes in their defense that they need to fix?
Yeah, I think the Jets have spent a lot of money on Sauce Gardner, and I think the Jets have spent a lot of money on the front 4 of the defense. And it shows because they were able to get pressure sometimes, even against Pittsburgh. And a Mike Tomlin team is pretty well coached, from a line of scrimmage perspective. But I think it had more to do with the fact that the Jets secondary just wasn't very good outside of Sauce Gardner. And if I don't have the data plotted, but if you were to plot the data, I think they threw away from Sauce as much. Like I think they threw to him to like prove that they could, but the majority of the time the strategy was go wherever Sauce Gardner's not. So that my thinking is it was more about the Jets, and the penalties kept him in it, truthfully.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the PI that kept him in it in the one series in third quarter, that really was a backbreaker. So
yeah, just real quickly, the Jets, I'd love to see them go 9-8. I think they have that potential this year, especially if Justin continues to play like he played Sunday. The Steelers, I don't know what to make of them. There's a lot of hype around their defense. I think their defense is old. I think Aaron Rodgers is way past his prime. I think Steeler Nation thinks that they can go win a Super Bowl with this combination. Hey, Brady won one at roughly the same age, and we have better talent in other positions than the Buccaneers did that season. But let's remember quickly, even in his prime, Aaron Rodgers was the 4 MVP guy and 1 Super Bowl victory. He's always been I care more about the MVP than I do about winning a Super Bowl. And that hasn't changed. And every time he opens his mouth in an interview, he proves it, that he's about himself, not about the team.
He's definitely an eye guy. And to be clear, like if you look at the Brady Buccaneer season, I know I'm talking to 2 experts, so I will tread lightly. But if you look at the Brady Buccaneer season, the Buccaneer defense was pretty stout. Like it had a good collection of people. The Steelers defense on Sunday allowed 182 total yards of rushing. So, and almost 400 yards of total offense. They did get a forced fumble on a kickoff. And, that was the turnover that allowed Aaron Rodgers to look so great. But to be honest, like, I don't think Rodgers' numbers are Brady-esque. He had 244 yards. He did have 4 TDs, but he wasn't asked to carry the team the length of the field 5 times the way Brady would when he was playing for Bruce Arians. So I think I don't think Steeler Nation should be too excited. I'll be honest. I don't think Mike Tomlin is terribly excited. Mike Tomlin's never been a win today, so mortgage the future type of guy. And this feels an awful lot like that move.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Bruce Arians of no risk it, no biscuit fame. Yes.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's very well said. I think that's absolutely true.
All right. So, and since we just said Bruce Arians and no risk it, no biscuit, and Zach and I never saw this coming, but ever since Brady came to Tampa, we love Tom Brady. Can't say we loved him as much before he came to Tampa. Zach, people of Atlanta, people of Tampa, and you and I care about the Tampa Bay Atlanta game.
Yep.
You and I watched it. You and I got frustrated a few times. We high-fived a few times. I was convinced we were going to lose because we missed an extra point and a field goal that was easily makeable. What are your thoughts from that game? And how do you feel about Tampa the rest of the season after watching them?
That might have been the battle between the two worst kickers that I've seen in a long time. It was missed field goal after missed field goal after missed extra point and blah, blah, blah. My main takeaway is that Egbuka is going to be a beast for the rest of his career. I'm extremely excited for him. Not only as a Tampa fan, but also as a fantasy football fan. I have him in my league. But for the rest of the season, I don't know what happened. The offense just looked slow. They couldn't get things going at all until the end of the game. It took them a lot longer than it should have to get into rhythm. But I trust Baker Mayfield as a fan. I've seen what he can do. Every year going into Tampa, the Tampa season, I think it's our year. I'm delusional in that sense. But I really do think that we have the offense to win the Super Bowl. And I think the defense is solid enough. We've got an elite level player, in my opinion, at every level. We've got Vita Vea on the line. Levante David, he's old, but he's still a very solid player. And then Antoine Winfield is a really solid safety. So it's not what I wanted to see that game, but I'm glad they won.
So quick question for Zach. Sorry, Paul, but quick question for Zach. Have to ask, are you more excited about Egbuka, or are you more worried about the fact that it was 192 yards of total offense for the Bucs through three quarters against what candidly is not revered as an incredibly strong defense out of Atlanta?
That's a good question. Both are important to me. I think Egbuka is, I don't know. I watched him a lot in college. Ohio State was on TV all the time, and he just looked smooth. Yeah. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a player as polished as he is as a rookie. And he spent a lot of time at Ohio State. He was a senior. He played with a lot of talented receivers. He was never the guy at Ohio State.
Right.
Had Jeremiah Smith last year, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson,
Marvin
Harrison, yeah. But he just looks smooth. I don't know how to say. I'm just saying this as a fan. I'm not a scout or anything, but just he passes the eye test to me.
Gotcha.
The 192 total yards of offense is worrisome. I don't know what happened. Again, like, I'm not a professional scout or a coach, but Baker was just making some weird reads. He wasn't moving the ball. We also have a new offensive coordinator for the third time in 3 years because we keep getting him poached.
Yeah.
So I think it was him getting up to speed as
on the system.
As a first-time OC.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we're also missing a ton of players. Our offensive line was kind of mashed together last minute. It seemed like our starting center, who we drafted in the first round last year, was moved into left tackle because Wirfs was out. And then we had some guy who I think it was Ben Bredesen is his name. He's our new center. It was just all over the place. Chris Godwin was out.
So you had a lot of platooning for week one, and then on top of that, the new OC.
Yeah, it was just a weird – I mean, I'm honestly surprised they won the game because Atlanta's not a bad team by any means.
Especially not on offense. They have a high-powered offense. I'm surprised we held them to 20. I really am.
Yeah.
Hey, so I will just say this, Zach. You feel like they can still go deep in the playoffs based on what you saw?
I understand that I'm completely delusional, but as a kid growing up, we would go 4-12 every season. So this is the first prolonged period of my life where we've actually had potential. So
won the division a few times in a row. Well, I will tell you, as your father, and I've been around since the Bucks came in the league in the mid-'70s, I assume 9-8 is a fantastic season. That's what I assume coming into every year. And if we get to 10 wins and win a playoff game, that's a pretty good season. And that's actually kind of, we either do that or we get into the playoffs and lose in the first round. But yeah, I feel the same way I feel about Tampa after week 1 every year. Like I don't know what to make of them yet.
Yeah, we're all over the place, but
a more wide open NFC for both of you this year, I would contend. Like, just being honest, the Cowboys don't look like they're up to the task. Doesn't look like Detroit will be the same as Detroit was. It doesn't look like the NFC West is necessarily sterling. So, 1, the division is pretty wide open. And 2, even if you don't win the division, you guys got to be at least optimistic about the fact that you could hang as a wild card. I mean, even the NFC East, which has the Super Bowl champs, the next best team is the Commanders, and they're stout and formidable. But, it's like them in Green Bay. It's hard to see anybody else as being a huge standout yet.
Yeah, I was about to say Green Bay specifically looked very good. And I don't know if that's just Detroit dealing with new coordinators and not looking like their old selves, but Green Bay looks very, very good. I mean, they got up early and then just kind of played keep away the rest of the game.
I agree. And they also beat up Jared Goff on defense with their new addition straight from the OC. I mean, the Cowboys. And it was incredible. just the drama show lost somebody, but he joined a different show. So it's cool. I think it's cool for you guys. I'm happy for you.
No, so just to put a pin into this notion of the NFC kind of being wide open, I think Philly's the class. I think Washington will compete with them a lot. I can't wait to watch those two.
That's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Detroit. I don't know what to make of Minnesota. But if McCarthy is the kid he was in the fourth quarter last night, watch out, NFC. And then I think Tampa's probably in the conversation after those teams. And we can compete, I think, with all of them. We beat Philly in the regular season last year. So we got a shot any given Sunday, right?
I agree.
All right, we're going to do this. Tom, which game do you feel more comfortable talking about out of the two crazy ending games, the Bills-Ravens or the Vikings?
The Bills-Ravens, I watched almost every single second of that game. That, to me, and I understand the Minnesota-Chicago game, no disrespect or shade thrown on those guys. I got to say, though, the Bills-Ravens game, if I am Goodell, I literally made phone calls to the owners of those franchises, and I was like, hey, I'll make sure that the bottle of scotch arrives on time. I'll be in town to take you to your favorite restaurant this week, because what incredible television, and what a way to welcome fans who are a little disillusioned with college football. What a way to welcome the country to say, look, despite all these safety precautions, this is still the NFL you grew up with, and look at these people compete. What an amazing game. Definitely Definitely Bills Ravens.
Derrick Henry was amazing until he fumbled the ball. I mean, he was amazing the entire game except for that fumble, and that's going to happen from time to time.
At age 31. I mean, it's incredible.
Lamar Jackson is really good. I do worry about Lamar in pressure situations. He kind of melts in the playoffs. He kind of melts in these kind of games. But Josh Allen is the only quarterback, I think, in the history, I could have this wrong, Zach, you can fact check me here, to throw for more than 250 yards in a quarter, and that's any quarter, and he happened to do it in the fourth quarter Sunday night game against the Ravens, the team that they beat in the playoffs last year. I mean, just incredible stuff. And Josh Allen, there's so many videos online, whether it's social media or YouTube, whatever, that shows fans filming themselves during the 2018 draft when the Bills had the 7th overall pick, and they picked Josh Allen out of Wyoming.
Which is not that football, well, not the football powerhouse, right?
The Bills fans were so dejected, and now they have Superman playing quarterback. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I not only do I agree with you, and Zach, I promise I'll let you in here. I was just so enamored with this game, but the poise that he showed in that fourth quarter, being down 15 points, and then just running that offense and just not refusing to let his team lose, was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, sorry for this. Another video. They're like, Josh, you've only got 35 seconds and you're down 100 points. He goes, I don't need the extra 5 seconds. I just need 30 seconds.
What
Zach, your thoughts? And by the way, Zach goes to bed early and he wakes up early these days. He's trying to get into that habit. So he actually didn't see the end of that game live.
I went to bed right when Derrick Henry scored that touchdown to put him up 40-25. I didn't even watch the extra point. Of course, they missed it. And then I woke up and I don't know why, but the first thing I did was check my phone and check the score of the game. I thought I knew what the score was going to be. It was going to be 41-25 or 41-36 or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. But I checked it and I saw the Bills won. And I'm like, what in the world happened? And then I immediately go to watch the highlights and I realized I missed out on maybe the best week 1 game ever.
It's possible.
But throughout the game, well, first of all, it was maybe the best rushing performance I've ever seen by Derrick Henry, especially for a 30-plus-year-old running back. I mean, running backs when I was a kid would retire when they were 29, 28. They would fall off a cliff. And I keep forgetting that this guy is 250 pounds, 6'3". I mean, he's a monster. And he's not super slow either. I mean, he's not quick, but he's not slow. I mean, it was like every 5th play, he was breaking one for 30-plus. It was ridiculous. And I also noticed that the Bills, throughout the first 3 quarters when I was watching them, just weren't throwing downfield much. It was kind of just a lot of like screens and checkdowns, and it just led to a slower paced offense, and they weren't getting a ton of stuff done. And then, of course, when I go to bed, Josh Allen is launching it down the field, 250 yards in that quarter, like you said. But my main takeaway is I'm mad that I went to sleep.
All right, Zach, let's kick off the game last night, which you also went to bed early for. Well, what was the score when you went to bed last night?
I don't know. I don't even know what the final score was. I just saw that the Vikings won.
The final was 27-21, I think.
I think it was 20-something to 7. I think the Vikings had 7 by the time I went to bed.
Yeah, I'm looking for it now.
Yeah, all right, but Zach, what you did watch and then the highlights you saw the next day, what are your thoughts? 27-24. 27-24.
It was a pretty slow-paced, boring game from what I was watching, which is one of the reasons why I stopped watching. Caleb looked phenomenal on the first drive.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was nothing. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was part of the play design or the play script at the beginning of the game. But he just collapsed. It was just hard to watch. And then JJ, on the other hand, seemed to get better as the game went on, which I was surprised to see. A lot of quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks, they'll start off slow and they won't get any better. But JJ somehow did the opposite of that. And there were a lot of flags called on the Bears at the beginning of the game, which I thought was strange, especially because I've been hearing from camp that Ben Johnson is a bit of a hard ass. He doesn't like mistakes, blah, blah, blah. So that surprised me a bit. But yeah, overall, the Vikings looked better than I thought they'd be, to be honest. I thought they'd be good, but not as good as they were in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, McCarthy was the first quarterback in his first game to account for 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. No one's ever done that. No first game quarterback has ever done that.
Yeah, and that pick 6 was brutal. I'm surprised he came back from that mentally.
I saw the pick 6. The pick 6 was brutal, especially because like he even tried to make a tackle, and I think like he missed terribly. Like he did not look athletic.
Yeah,
it was not his best. It was not his best look. I think there's a chance that Kevin O'Connell might be one of the better quarterback whisperers that we have in the NFL. I think Cousins' production under him, I mean, just being honest, he looked like a different quarterback, Minnesota versus Atlanta. And, now this guy, JJ McCarthy, I mean, he looked like a guy that hadn't played in almost 2 years in the first 2 quarters. And he comes out in the second half, and I have no idea who that was in his uniform, but it was like a different player. And the amount of confidence he had and the downfield throws that he was attempting and making were I didn't know what to do. I was stunned. I, like you, Zach, went to bed. and was even more embarrassingly explained to by my wife. I didn't even check the score, but my wife actually explained to me that I should have stayed up as she did to watch the Minnesota Vikings be triumphant. You know,
Is your wife watching football because of you know who in Kansas City?
so yes is the short answer. I think that what my wife has got an affection for ESPN's documentaries, and I mean all of them. Like it's one of the things we look forward to. So recently we watched The Kingdom about the Kansas City Chiefs. And so my wife, having lived in Kansas City for almost 2 years of her life, has decided she's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. And so there have been sweatshirts that have been procured and stuff like that. So,
by the way, there are now, I used to have 3 names. Now there are 4 names. ESPN is famous for talking about the Cowboys way too much.
Yes.
LeBron James,
yes.
Aaron Rodgers, and now the lady from Kansas City. She probably doesn't live in Kansas City, but she's associated with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
If we're going to talk about any of those 4, it has to be overwhelmingly negative.
You're just putting the rule out there.
just putting that out there. All right, Zach, you ready to predict games for next week? We'll move this along kind of quickly. If it's a really cool matchup like the Eagles Chiefs, then we can spend a little time talking about that one. But if it's like the Colts Titans, who cares?
Sure. Well, game 1 is Thursday night, Washington, Green Bay.
Ooh. Zach, thoughts on that one?
I've got Green Bay personally.
Why?
They just look good. I don't know how to describe it. They looked good.
Did you watch the Washington game?
No, I didn't, admittedly. But I did check the box score, and it's against a disastrous Giants team. I do know that much. And it wasn't a blowout, and so I think that's why I'm a little down on them. To be fair, though, the Green Bay game wasn't a blowout either. But I did watch some of that game, and it looked like they were slowing things down on purpose. So
yeah, and the game's in Green Bay?
It is. It's just a vibe for me.
It says Packers. I have Packers at Commanders. Is it in Green Bay, though?
Oh, is it? I might be wrong. Sorry.
Our crack staff is going to have to do better on knowing scores of like the Vikings, Bears. And
yeah.
Where
I think you are right. I think it is at Washington.
No. So here it then says Thursday night Washington is at the Green Bay Packers, September 11th. So you were right to begin with. So the game, but having said that, I guess I say that to say I don't know that the Lambeau effect with the weather is necessarily in play yet this early in the season.
No, it's definitely not. But the fact that they're in Green Bay, I think Green Bay feels like a pretty good pick. If they were in Washington, it'd be more of a coin flip sort of game for me. I think Washington probably wins at home. But all 3 of us are going Green Bay.
I'm not. I'm going to go Washington. So and here's the contrarian view. So I feel like Daniels is just excellent. I know he didn't put up huge numbers against the Giants, but I think that he's fantastic. And in the way that they cruised against the Giants, I also feel like whereas the Packers looked really balanced in their game against Detroit. I also think Detroit just had too many holes and has too many holes coming into the game. I think that Washington is going to hold the ball for a lot longer and have a much longer time of possession. And I honestly think the Packers are going to have to deal with a much more difficult wide receiving core than they had to deal with Detroit. I think that whatever the gentleman's name, Lauren, I always get the name wrong. He's actually looking really good. It's looking a lot like Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison back there, even though I know it's too early to call it that. So,
yeah, to your point about Detroit having a lot of holes, neither one of these teams played anybody that really challenged them in week 1.
Right. And so I don't know that we saw enough. So, but I'm taking the Commanders. I'm taking Jaden Daniels. Like I'm going with him. I'm a big fan, even though I'm not a huge fan of Washington. I think that they might pull it out. So we'll see. Zach, you're probably right, but I'm taking the contrarian anyway.
Well, I've got no rhyme or reason for my pick. It's just vibes. I just think Green Bay is going to win. That's all I can say.
Paul, you got Green Bay as well?
Yep.
All right.
All right, what's the next game, Zach?
Cleveland at Baltimore.
Just quick picks. Just say, Tom, what do you got?
I got Baltimore.
So do I, Zach.
Yeah, so do I.
All right.
All right, Cincinnati at Jacksonville.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. We don't have to talk about it a ton, but that's not the you had said 2 weeks ago who wins this game. I say Cincinnati wins it.
Sorry, it's Jacksonville at Cincinnati.
Man, my practice stats going to get better next week, I'm
sorry.
sure.
I'm going with Jacksonville. I think Cincinnati
Really?
is actually. Yeah, I think Cincinnati's just that game against Cleveland was absolutely horrid. I looked at some of the highlights of it. Burrow, they've spent a gajillion dollars on that wide receiving core, and to beat Cleveland by I think 1 point, I don't know that bodes too well.
I understand that, but I watched a bit of the Jacksonville game, and Trevor Lawrence looks awful, and so I'm going to go with Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going with Tom and taking the Jags. The Bengals have a top 7 quarterback. They have a top 2 or 3 receiver. They have Hendrickson at D end. After those 3, I don't know what else they have. They seem like a pretty hollow team. I think Jacksonville's going to get better throughout the season. Whether that shows up in week 2, who knows? But I don't trust Cincy against almost anybody. You can't play that close to Cleveland, almost lose to Cleveland, and have me predict you playing your next game.
Right.
All right, Giants at Cowboys.
We're all going to say the Cowboys, and
There we are.
it bothers me. I'd lose part of my right pinky if the Cowboys lost this game, but.
All right. I'm going with the Cowboys. Chicago at Detroit.
Ooh.
It's a tough one.
Yeah,
all right, Tom, you go first.
Yeah. So I'm going with Chicago on this one, and it breaks my heart because I love Detroit. I love the story there. I want the movie. I want the movie desperately to work out here, but I just don't see it. I see Goff by himself. He looked lost in the game against Green Bay, couldn't move the ball, really couldn't get an offensive rhythm going. I feel like the receiving core is depleted, and the lines are very different compared to where they were this time last year. So I think Chicago actually will put up some yardage in the air. I think, Caleb will get it done.
Zach?
I think I'm also going to go Chicago. It's a coin flip for me, but it's close. But I think I'm going to go Chicago.
It's a coin flip for me as well. Tom, I think all your points are valid. The notion of the rest of the NFL figuring out a lot of what you did, and the fact that you lost 2 really good OCs. A good OC and a good DC.
Yep.
But I watched all of Caleb Williams' plays, and he looked, to Zach's point, beyond the scripted first drive, he looked horrible. I mean, I would make a case that he was the worst quarterback in week 1. And there are plenty of other candidates out there. I didn't see the Carolina game. Did Bryce look bad?
Yeah.
And also to the point Zach made earlier about Trevor Lawrence, but to your point, I get where you're coming from in terms of big moment, big lights. He didn't shine. I get it. But
both teams scare me to predict that they're going to win. In a coin flip game for me, I'll take the home team, and I'll be the contrarian against you two. So I'll take Detroit.
All right.
New England at Miami.
Who cares? I think all 3 of us will say New England because Miami looked like they couldn't beat a good high school team.
That is 100% accurate, yes.
Yeah. I'm going with any team that's playing Miami every single time.
Yeah. And preferably Tyreek Hill will get traded to the Cowboys so that we can have another documentary on Netflix.
He might pull an AB this season, just quit in the middle of the game.
He might.
Just take his jersey off and run to the locker room.
Yeah.
All right. San Fran at New Orleans.
We all should say San Fran. New Orleans is worse than they've ever been. I can't tell you how happy that makes Zach and me. We can't stand the Saints. And so I want the Saints to never, ever win another football game again.
Oh, wow. Okay. Got it. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right. Buffalo at the Jets.
It just never ends, does it? I mean, it just doesn't. So, like, not only am I taking Buffalo, but I also think that it'll be really nice that we can help, Josh Allen have another highlight reel so that, the fans will have something to use for the end of the year tape that all the season ticket holders will get on DVD.
Yeah. Support the Allen MVP campaign.
Yeah, so Bills Mafia come and beat up all of our fans, and it's Buffalo's so much of a better team. So
hey, but there are games where teams that are supposed to trounce the other team, they end up getting in a close.
They do. This isn't one of them, but that does happen. I agree with you.
This probably will not be one of them, but they do happen.
All right, Seattle at Pittsburgh.
Ooh.
Yeah, this one's really tough because it's what do you think of Seattle? Because we got such a good look at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I don't think did Seattle win week 1?
No, they lost to San Fran.
Yeah,
but it came down to the end, right?
It was close.
Yeah, it was close.
It was a close game.
And Darnold's not the Minnesota Vikings quarterback he was, but he's also not as bad as I think the world thought he was 3 years ago. He doesn't have a ton of talent around him on offense, though, right?
I think I saw some stat where he targeted his number one receiver, Jackson Smith and Jigba, like 50% of his passes or something ridiculous.
Yeah. And
I could be off on that side by a little bit, but it was a lot.
Yeah. I tend to agree. I think, I think Pittsburgh is gonna hurt them. I think Pittsburgh is specifically gonna hurt them with I don't think they have a great secondary, and I think that Purdy did a little bit of exploitation on it, but I think Rodgers will unfortunately do a lot of it as well. I also don't think they can get home against Pittsburgh's O-line.
Yeah, I'm going Pittsburgh as well.
Yeah, I'd love to be a contrarian here, but I don't know enough about the Seahawks to trust them, and Pittsburgh at home is usually formidable.
Yep. The terrible towel.
Rams at Titans.
Ooh.
I'll start with this one. The rookie quarterback for the Titans always scares me. I want Cam Ward to have a good rookie season. I want him to have an awesome career. I think he's a good kid. I think he's got a ton of upside, but it's his rookie season, week 2. Like, I don't think they win.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Rams, being the veteran team, come in there and just do all the little things right. I don't think it's a huge spread. I don't think they beat them by 30 points, but I don't think it's a win for the Titans.
Yeah, I'm going with the Rams as well. All right, Carolina at Arizona.
Should we all just say Arizona?
It's Arizona across the board, and
I don't know if Arizona is as good as we think they are, but yeah,
they're not. But Carolina's that much worse.
I think it's one of the biggest tragedies in the NFL that Bryce Young, who's actually a hell of an athlete, is just he's not looking good. But I think it's really the team around him. I think that team just needs to be fire sold and then start it again.
Yeah, I mean, even as a Tampa fan, I want him to succeed, but it's been rough.
Yeah.
All right, Denver at Indianapolis.
This is possibly one of the most controversial games of the week, and it's got a huge underlying story of Daniel, don't call me, So Jones after his performance in week 1, where I think he threw 5 touchdowns.
Did he have that many?
It was 4 or 5 touchdowns. He had a monster game. And for Indianapolis, I mean, it looked like it was like Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning lent them their DNA. It was like, how did this work? And so that's up against, how do you judge that against this other team? I don't know.
I'm still taking Denver.
Yeah, look, Knicks is not getting a lot of national coverage because he plays west of the Mississippi, but I think he's going to be a really nice quarterback. He looked really good his rookie year. I think he's going to have another strong year. I cannot stand Sean Payton for a million reasons, but I think he's a good football coach. And so Denver's my pick here, even though I would love to see the Colts win that game. And I'd love to see Daniel Jones have another good game, but I don't think it's going to happen 2 weeks in a row.
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going with DJ and the Colts. I think that Daniel Jones is the smile on his face was incredible. Great job, Giants, in giving him away. I think they do it. So I'm going to take Indy.
All right. Here's a good one. Philly at Kansas City.
Can I start this one?
Please.
Travis Kelce is the only good receiver on the team. I know he plays tight end, but he's the only guy who's decent at catching the ball on that entire offense.
Who's not hurt?
Who's not? Yeah, it's fair. The running backs are okay. The line's pretty good. Mahomes and company. You told me the stat the other day. They didn't score more than 30 points, or they didn't even get to 30 points in any game last year.
That's right.
Think about that.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Philly is so good, and specifically Saquon Barkley is so good that they don't even need to get Hurts to throw 5 good balls to A.J. Brown or to Devontae Smith. You don't need one elite wide receiver and arguably a near elite wide receiver. You don't even need to engage them. Saquon Barkley can take over a game so handily. I won't pray about the outcome of a football game, but if I were to pray, I would pray that Philly wins 77 to -10.
Wow, so angry. So much haterade. Zach, how do you feel?
I wish I had as much passion as my dad did there.
So much passion.
I'm taking Philly. I just think the talent is heavily imbalanced towards Philly's side. I mean, I don't think it's going to be close.
Yeah. So one of the saddest things I've ever seen was 2010, watching the New York Yankees kind of limp themselves into the playoffs. They were hurt, they were battered, they were bruised. And the truth is they were old, right? Like it had come to an end. And it was sad to see. It's one of the worst things we see in pro sports when a team that has won multiple championships is starting to Father Time is starting to disassemble the pieces. I think that's where we are with KC. I think they go on the schneid still and go 0-2. The biggest thing is I don't think the KC defense can keep them in it any longer. People know that Chris Jones is a monster, so they double, they triple team him, and then they wait for the rest of Kansas City's defense to see if they can do anything. And the cornerbacks and safeties just aren't good enough to keep up with elite wide receivers, let alone Saquon Barkley coming out of the backfield, busting one and running at full speed.
Agreed. All right, Sunday night, Atlanta at Minnesota.
This one hurts my heart. I'd love to go first on this one. I got to be honest. At some point, Atlanta has to come face to face with a business decision, which is that you've purchased a $100 million Earth Roamer, and you're keeping it in the garage in favor of driving a very good Toyota Sequoia, right? And I get it. It's comfy and it's got some new tech to it. It can do some things the Earth Roamer can't do, but it's never won a playoff game. So I don't totally understand this, but at the same time, hey, it is what it is. I really think Minnesota pulls it off in the vengeance game. And I think that, the one person who leaves that game with a little chuckle is Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking Minnesota as well. Watching the Atlanta game this past week did not inspire me enough. I don't know. I know that game was lost by the kicking battle, it seems like, but Tampa gave them a lot of opportunities and they didn't do anything with it. So I'll take Minnesota.
Yeah, just to clarify, the Earth Roamer, I think you called it in the garage, $100 million Earth Roamer, has a total of 1 playoff win his entire career.
I called it an Earth Roamer because it's never won a race. So I agree with you. I'm just saying you paid a lot of money for it and it has a lot of features. That's all.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'll be the contrarian here. I think I would have said Atlanta either way. I love it when NFC South divisional competition loses games, and it certainly would not hurt my feelings for the Falcons to go 0-2 to start the season. But Penix, he's going to have some games where he's just that good. I think he's that level of a pocket passer, and that can turn into 5 touchdowns, and I don't think Minnesota could keep up if he has that kind of game. And so as the contrarian, I'll assume that is going to happen.
All right. Tampa at Houston.
Zach and I are fighting our urges to be homers here horribly.
I'm going homer all the way. I'm going Tampa.
All right. So, Zach, when I grew up in the 70s and 80s, reverse psychology was a big thing, and so it's hung with me to this point. So I'm going to go Texans. If the Texans win, I'm right. If they lose, my team wins.
That makes you a fake fan, I think.
Oh, don't get me started. Did you not hear me? 1976, I started liking them, and I stuck with it.
He was there in the Vinny Testaverde days, Zach. It was tough stuff.
Yeah.
It was tough stuff.
I was here in the Mike Glennon days, Dad. How about that?
That hurts. That hurts.
Okay, Trent Dilfer.
Yeah.
Josh McCown.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston.
We could go on. We could go on.
Keep going. On this one, I think at some point CJ Stroud's got to have a breakout game. He called out his team. Apparently, there was a little bit of a kerfuffle there where he didn't feel like they were playing great. He got picked in one where it looked like it was a little bit up for grabs. So I think that this is kind of the game that brings them back together. So I'm going Houston.
All right. Last game.
And by the way, before last game, we're going to have a fun stat or fact every week. Zach, you were telling me what team? There are like 12 teams, I think, that have never won a Super Bowl, something like that. But the lowest winning percentage for the franchise's history has won 2 Super Bowls. Who is that team?
Tampa Bay.
Yep. There's your fun fact. Tampa Bay has the worst winning percentage out of all 32 teams, and we're 2-0 in Super Bowls. Doesn't make
We've got a great season once every 20 years, and then outside of that, it's a dumpster fire. For the last 5 years.
The fact that you have 2 Super Bowls, the only thing separating you and the Jets is the fact that you have one other Super Bowl.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Thank you, Tony Dungy and John Gruden.
All right. Last game, 10 p.m. Monday night. Chargers at Raiders.
Oh gosh, this is a game of nobody cares.
Well, no, hold on. So my son and I used to do it every year. We got away from it recently, but we got back into it because I've been nostalgic because Dak's leaving the home and headed into independent adulthood. And he's got this golf ball case that we've converted into a plastic NFL helmet division case. And so during the regular season, before the season starts, we'll predict who's going to win the division. And then we'll predict we'll do playoffs and that sort of thing. We were aligned on 7 of the 8 divisions. The only division we weren't aligned on was the AFC West. And I said, Denver's going to have something to say about that division, and the Chargers are going to surprise a lot of people. And then he went with old school, what's-her-face in Kansas City, saying she was going to win the division.
I did. I'm starting to regret it already.
I think the Chargers are better than people think. I think the Raiders are actually better than people think, but you can't bring Pete Carroll anywhere and not give your team a chance in a season like that. Pete Carroll's a good coach, but Raiders probably end up 7-10 this year.
Yeah,
the Chargers a good game, but I think the Chargers win this one.
I think so too. I don't think Pete Carroll has enough to work with. I think he needs to make. I think there's a bunch of personnel moves and probably actually some coordinator moves that he needs to make over the next couple of years. I think the Pete Carroll effect, in my opinion, is at least 12 months away.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'll take the Chargers here. They just looked a lot better than I thought they would in week 1. Especially Herbert. But yeah, that's all I got
100%.
to say.
100%. Looked like Oregon out there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey,
it didn't look like that the last few years, but
that's right.
If week 2 is anything like week 1, we're in store for another great week. But I don't know how you can have those 2 endings like you did in the last 2 games of the week. You're not going to see that again in the season. I don't think.
All downhill from here.
Not until I think the end of the year, you might see some great games coming down the stretch. But that was incredible. And thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Fun. Combined 3 Super Bowl wins between our teams.
That is absolutely true.
They've only played 59. In
the spirit of my favorite ESPN show, pardon the interruption, I did have a mistake, and that is it was the 2011 New York Giants that were in our face as Jet fans. And so that was only a couple years after Mark Sanchez threw an incomplete pass to keep us out of the AFC Championship game.
Yeah. By the way, I'll remind everybody because my wife's a Giants fan, so I'm by default a Giants fan. That 2011 season, they were the 6th seed and won the whole thing.
Yeah, they were the worst record team to win a Super Bowl that year. And it was once again, I believe, against the Patriots.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was.
And so my wife and I are watching Man in the Arena because she never saw it. And my wife is like, wow, they lost again to the Giants. And I'm like, yes. And she's like, I wish the Jets could do that. And I'm like, please stop talking to me.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we'll have a discussion down the road of why the NFL loves the Chiefs so much.
I would love to have a discussion about nostalgia and the NFL and all of our teams' kind of histories and magic moments. That would be really cool. And then the magic moments that seem to be manufactured for the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Taylor Swift effect is they said in the show The Kingdom that female viewership of the NFL post Taylor Swift was up well over 30% higher than it had been pre her dating Travis Kelce.
I mean, it's billions of dollars.
That's exactly what they said. They showed a bunch of TikTok videos of young girls ages 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And they were like, how many chances do you get to move the ball 10 yards in football? And they're like, 4. But most people punt it on the 4th down. And like fathers were just like, thank you, Taylor Swift. This is a dream come true. Everybody in my house wants to watch football. So,
I was about to say, I think it's a good thing.
It's not a bad thing. I think to Paul's point, Zach, I think it provides a lot of this kind of glitz and glamourishness to a team that may or may not be earning it anymore. It's a little bit of like love that Notre Dame gets during the Tyrone Willingham era.
Yeah, I don't like seeing the cameras cut to her during a game or every single media outlet I see talking about her or Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the Chiefs. But I think the more people watching football, the better. I mean, it's something I enjoy watching, so why shouldn't other people enjoy it?
Makes the product better, for sure.
Yeah. We'll end it there. Cool. Thanks for joining, Tom. Zach, thanks for joining as well and doing what you do.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts. We'd also really appreciate if you'd rate and review us. You can find us at scodupodcast.com.